And we are live, the December 9th edition of the SMT podcast. It's the SMT, and it's Dennis. Dennis, welcome to the show, good sir.
It's good to be back, man. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on, dude. It's been a while. We're glad to have you back. We're going to be talking all this telco stuff. You know, we get the telco Jesus effect and the GOAT himself, so we do that. And, you know, it's good to get talking heads on here, man. There's stuff in here that I do want to throw around. And, you know, it's the different perspectives, man. You know, sometimes there's things I don't see. And sometimes I think, you know, I need that other voice to kind of bring that perspective into play, you know. Let's do some hellos. I see some people already making it in here. We got Joe. What is going on, good sir? He said, yeah.
We also got Chuck that commented earlier. Good to see you as well, Chuck. Same to you, Gene. He said, what's up, everyone?
Hey, guys. Good to have you, and thanks for coming through. We got Ohio Rail fans in the house. Oh, David saying, Batman wears the magenta thong for show.
You know, I don't know if this is a topic, but Sneed, I think I'm even though T-Mobile's had a little issue, man, I think I'm starting to become a believer.
You know,
Again.
That's good, man, because you've been down on them for a while, dog.
Yeah, they had just a quick side tangent. So as everyone knows, I went on a quick little trip out to Cali, and when I was planning that trip, there was actually a network outage that was lasting for like a week, and I don't know how much longer it lasted thereafter, but it was real bad. It was like 1 meg down and like 0.001 up Sneed. But that seems to be fixed. Service at my house seems to be stabilized, 50 to 150 meg, about what I expect. Totally reasonable, totally acceptable. But I was actually doing some driving today. So I got a real good chance to, you know, see some places for T-Mobile that I knew where they were struggling. And you'll never guess what I saw at one of the cell sites. Now, this wasn't applicable to all cell sites, but just one of them. Guess what I saw?
What'd you see, dog? What'd you see?
They fixed the latency problem.
What?
No, seriously. I was running a speed test over by the South Hills Mall in like the Bethel Park-ish area.
What was the latency prior?
It was hovering around like the 30s, and then loaded would go up to like 2,000. You know, the whole loaded ping issue.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, but this time around when I ran it, the idle ping was 31, so still idle, you know, still in the 30s. But the loaded latency, this is what impressed me, Sneed. The loaded latency only went up to 271 on the down and 242 on the up, and that's actually
really
not that
good.
bad. Like
No,
that's not
really
bad.
good.
Yeah,
That's really good. That's a huge improvement. So you're basically saying, like, I mean, night and day difference.
Yeah, I mean, for my mobile device, you know, I you know, like I'm driving, so like I didn't really like have a chance to like sit down and like, you know, do what I'm, you know, do all the stuff that you would do. But like if you were like a T-Mobile Home Internet customer in particular, that's a night and day difference for that user base. So T-Mobile's doing some work, and they did upgrade the backhaul some more sites that I've noticed as well. Like I'm starting to actually see the throughput that we should be getting to see from like a mid-band connection like T-Mobile has, getting close to those gig speeds.
They probably upgraded backhaul more uniformly, you know, and with the upgrades becoming a little bit more distributed now, right? Like most of the markets probably has upgraded sites.
Yeah,
that's
good.
what it takes, dude. You gotta do all the sites, and you gotta do, you know, big time backhaul, and that's just what it takes, you know.
Yeah, it's the data. The data has been improving for them. Calling's still a weak point. Ironically enough, when I was talking to Carlos yesterday, Sneed, I actually dropped down the Edge. I was having some issues with my Vonar and voice over Wi-Fi.
That's on the T-Mobile connection.
But it seems to have fixed itself today. I don't know if maybe they were doing some more maintenance or something, or
Yeah, they do weird things on these towers at times. Like, I don't know if you remember my situation. They upgraded the site in like June, and like they didn't turn it on until July. And then when it was on, I'd say probably for at least 3 months, it was unstable, to put it nicely. And then even over the last like month or two, it's been really random. You know, SA, NSA, N41, N71. Like, there's been a bunch of weird stuff. So there's definitely transitional things going on.
look, alls I know is this, man. If T-Mobile can get their whole cell network to perform similar to that one that was down by Bethel Park, man. They'll have an extraordinary network, and I'll be able to sing the praises about the T-Mobile network in Pittsburgh like I do for AT&T. And that's what I'm hoping for, man. That's what I want to see.
How about this for a question from Adam? Fast forward 1 year, end of 2023. Which carrier will have the fastest speeds in New York City?
I think it's going to depend.
I don't think it's going to depend. I think I know who it is.
Well, I was going to say it's going to depend on whether or not Verizon puts up the whole access of their C-band across New York.
Yeah.
If they do, then I think it's Verizon. And hear me out on this one, Sneed.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I think it's Verizon is because if all mid-band networks are treated equally in New York, which I would call that effectively the case, right? Then the deciding factor will be who has more small cell / millimeter wave to offset from the macros, and the answer is Verizon. They were the only ones that were deploying macros like crazy, or excuse me, small cells like crazy with millimeter wave.
Yeah, I think it's two parts. I think it's the part that you're describing, and I think it's also the fact that they'll have fiber there. You know, they own that. That's their market. That's Verizon country. Basking Ridge, New Jersey, New York. That's their stomping grounds, bro.
Although I will say, Sneed, I don't know if I have the confidence that Verizon is going to be on the ball like that. So realistically speaking, I think T-Mobile. If Verizon can't do what I said, it's going to be T-Mobile.
Yeah, I don't have it being T-Mobile in New York City. They just, unless they all of a sudden decide they want to split cells.
Well, T-Mobile's got 160 or so megahertz of spectrum on air, give or take, in New York.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the spectrum holdings. I think legit it just boils down to densification. Like, millimeter wave is a must. And the more you put up, the easier it is on your mid-band channels.
Sure.
So I got Verizon embracing the grind, and then I got T-Mobile just kind of waiting. I don't know, unless 2023 is the year of New York City millimeter wave for T-Mobile.
Well, I know someone, unfortunately, that we'll both agree on that has no chance in hell. AT&T has no chance in hell of being the fastest.
They have problems in New York City. What is that, dude? Everybody always tells me how crappy it is there.
They're not. Hold up. I want to be clear, because I've used AT&T in New York. They're not quote unquote crappy.
Well, they're third, right? Like T-Mobile is definitely better, and so is Verizon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that's what it is.
I was gonna say, because listen, here's the thing, right?
See, everything's relative, Dennis. Whenever you compare them, that becomes the benchmark, right?
Right. But I was gonna say, but here's the thing, though. If you were to compare any network in New York, even old Sprint in New York, to the broader United States, you would be like, wow, this is like the golden heaven of paradise for network connectivity, right? Because all the networks there are pretty dense.
Gotta be dense.
But then we start doing the relativity thing, as you put it, right? And I would say it's been a good decade since AT&T's had their leadership position in New York. Like back in the 3G days, I think is when AT&T was crushing New York. But once LTE came around, I feel like it's just been Verizon ever since. Verizon and then T-Mobile there for a minute or two.
All right, we can answer this question for you right here, Cameron. Boost, hard throttle, or just deprio after 30
Hard
gigs?
throttle.
We're here in 3G throttle, dog.
Dude, the Boost Infinite plan, man, it's just the same thing as the prepaid plan. Me and Stetson covered it on Best Phone Plans.
When I initially heard deprio, I was like, all right, cool. You know, and then when I heard throttle, I'm like, not cool. Like, it completely changed the tone of the conversation, you know? It went from being a value play to being rebranded Boost Mobile Prepaid to postpaid.
Yeah, on a side note, I think this is a beautiful transition to one of the things you have titled for today. Want to talk about Boost Infinite and Dish Wireless?
Yeah, man.
All right, tell me what you had queued up. I see it in your title.
Well, I just wanted to kind of get your pulse on what's developed in the last 24 hours. We have essentially the beta launch of Boost Infinite. Initially, when the press release was first put out, it was this $25 price point, which we thought was a good value for a postpaid line of service. We knew it was going to be on the AT&T network, right? So we understood that it was going to be a pretty solid national network with uniform capacity across the board. When I think about AT&T Access, I don't think congestion. You know, like under most circumstances, it's going to be a very good experience. So I didn't have any concerns about network access. I was thinking if it's postpaid, it's probably going to be QCI 8, right? But all those things need testing. So I can't comment or speculate on stuff I haven't tested personally, right? But when I heard that the 30 gig, data usage threshold, I was like, all right, well, if it's 30 gigs and then it's deprio, that's passable. But then it quickly became like tested. It was throttled to 3G speeds. That's useless. Like, what's the point to run a credit check to have postpaid service only to be treated like under the same parameters and terms of the prepaid, right? Because that's essentially the same as the $25 25 gig plan, right? That they have on prepaid.
Yeah, for the most part. I think the only key distinct difference between the prepaid and this offering is that this plan has 5 gigs of hotspot. And
so that's the $5, I guess, right?
And then and the other thing was just going to be that you could finance a device.
Yeah, I don't know.
Two differences, man. But
I guess Pete wants to get in here, so I'm gonna see.
Yeah,
if
I
I can
told
send
him about it.
Okay, let me see if I can get him a link here. The bearded one.
Yeah, while you're getting him a link, I just wanted to tell you my take on it. My take on it's this. I don't think the plan is like a bad value. I don't even necessarily think the plan is necessarily bad per se. My main issue here is that, over the year or so, building up to Boost Infinite, and even in the name and like the marketing and what we heard from our internal sources, there was some expectations that were kind of set a little on the higher side. And I feel like this particular plan didn't really come close to the expectations that were being set, especially with like what was going on with the Dish Wireless beta with Project Genesis, with like a true unlimited plan, true unlimited hotspot, right? Like we had, thoughts about that. And also worth touching on as well, one of the coolest things about a new player entering the market is the new network, right? Dish is talking about how they have a greenfield style 5G network, totally 5G only, standalone everything. And this plan does not give you access to that, at least currently on its initial launch. What I'm hoping, and I said this on the other podcast as well, but what I'm hoping to see from Dish personally is I would love it if they would give some more options outside of this $25 plan for life. I hope they give more options, in particular a more premium-oriented plan since it is postpaid. And I would also particularly like to see them give access to the Dish network where available. Like, those are the things that differentiate them. And right now, this plan, well, again, a good value, especially if you're looking for one of the cheapest possible plans to have with AT&T access, I just kind of think falls a little on the flat side.
Excellent. Very nice. Let's get the bearded dragon up in here. Pete, what up? We ain't got no sound, Pete. Got no sound.
Hey, so while we're waiting for Pete to get his audio in check, man, Sneed, you're CEO of Dish for a day. Ooh. What do you do different with the offering?
I think you don't launch it until you can get people on the Dish network.
Oh, you just hold it up entirely.
I mean, anybody can get AT&T access, right? Is it really about the price and the value? It's I mean, obviously you want to get revenue. You have to get people paying a bill, so I guess it's fine the way it is. But wouldn't you have given them something better? Like I think I would have did 30 gig on device data. Or no, I would have did 50 gig on device data, 50 gig hotspot.
I mean, if you did something like that, man, you're making yourself bankrupt with the prices they're probably paying.
Yeah, but you need to get usage on the network. You need people to use it. Don't you need beta for information and data?
I don't know. It depends on what beta is being defined as. That word in the gaming sphere has changed quite dramatically over the years with early access games on Steam. And I think the same could be said with the wireless space as well, what beta actually means.
Yeah, I feel like beta is beta, and you need to get users and usage. So, like, I mean, actually, you know what you probably should have did if it was to get people on the network? $10, $10, 10 gigs on device, 10 gigs hotspot or something. Like, very entry level, just get somebody to use the network.
I think Dish just straight up did this because they need money. I'm just going to be honest with you, Sneed. I think they need money because if they were really interested in running a public beta, right, a public beta offering, trying to get testers, trying to get usage, right, they wouldn't even charge $10. It'd be free. It'd be free if they wanted to actually see usage and have people test out the app and test out the care and test out the other stuff, right?
Facts.
But that's not what they're doing. They're looking for money up front. I think they're probably having a hard time getting investors to generate additional capital for them, and they need to start showing revenue to justify this investment into this wireless space, right? Also, side note,
holy cow.
Pete dropping
Pete
a
Fox.
nuclear bomb with the $100 super chat. He said, more like Boost Finite. Good to see the trio is back. Here's a little holiday super chat for the SMT. Pete, thanks for the incredible generosity to my boy Sneed. I'm sure that's going to go to Yasmin and her college fund, or maybe Santa Claus will be coming to town with an extra ha ho 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 ho.
Thanks, Pete, man. Appreciate you. Pete's always been really generous and kind and supportive of the channel, man. Thanks for all that you do, Pete. Wish you a happy holiday season. I wish you wealth. I wish you health, and a great holiday season, man. Thank you. Wow, really nice.
So, is my mic working this time?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I went to a different browser.
Nice.
Let me guess, you started in Firefox?
No, I was in Brave, and it said, well, screw you.
Not
so
happening.
Now I'm in Chrome.
Yeah, Pete, we got Fire Mobile, man. $25, 30 gigs of data, and then you're on 3G speed.
Sounds like they're competing with Mobile X on price.
Wait, PA Tech, what's up with this? I agree with you, Dennis, unfortunately.
Wait. What?
Unfortunately, you're right in a sense that it's not cool. You know,
I know, I'm just busting a joke. A joke.
Who would have thought it was going to happen, right?
Peter B, do you have anything you want to chime in here with the Boost Infinite plans if you were listening?
Well, what is it? Bottom of the barrel AT&T access?
Anybody know if it's QCI 8 or QCI 9?
I don't have the foggiest idea.
Well, either way, it's cheaper than Cricket to get on AT&T.
Yeah, but I'm a big fan of what Cricket's doing with on their premium side of their unlimited plans, man. $55 for true unlimited priority data ain't bad.
Yeah, that's
taxes,
pretty good.
fees included is nice. The HBO Max with ads, nice add-on.
Hey, I'm not saying like the high tier plan. Is there a $25?
Oh Jesus! Hold up.
Oh,
Blue
Tech
coming in with basically $100 as well. Hey SMT Nation. Hope you're all doing well. Another super chat for the holidays.
Thanks, Blue Tech. Wow, man.
So, Blue Tech, does that get the 30% YouTube cut and the 15% Apple cut?
Yo, Pete, chill out, dude. But yo, Blue Tech, and to anyone that's super chatting, you guys don't have to. Like, you know, you guys probably have holiday expenses, I'm sure, but we appreciate the generosity.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So what I was getting at with the Boost Infinite, what is the $25 Cricket plan?
I believe 10 gigs. I think that's
right.
Double check myself.
It's a limited amount of data for sure.
Yeah,
right,
so
we're here in QCI 9 for the Dish. Both offers, the Project Genesis and what do we call this, Boost Infinite Beta?
Yeah.
Excuse me, by the way, it is 5 gigs. 5 gigs for 30.
So you see, it's the cheapest way onto the AT&T network.
Yeah, but
that's ironic, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, but like, who says you have to have the AT&T network, right? Like, if we're just looking, like, if you're just a price conscientious consumer, right? I don't really think you're gonna necessarily be uber focused on like.
Yeah, but why? Anybody who knows about the existence of Boost Infinite, they got this thinking they were getting Dish Network. They really, like, that's what they want access to. In fact, I would speculate, because I can't speak for everybody, but I'm speculating that for the people who signed up for this in the last 24 hours, are looking forward to the day where they're testing N71, N66, N70, right?
Yeah.
They're not like, oh, I need AT&T access, I gotta have it. No, you could have gone to AT&T for that.
In fact, you'd probably be better served just going through AT&T, and in particular, if you want a cheaper plan, AT&T prepaid.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a good entry point. I think, like you said, Dennis, there's some revenue that needs to be generated. They got to build this network, and
well, I was just going to say,
they've realized and admitted that $7 billion won't cut it. Or
well,
$10
hear me
billion.
out. Hear me out real quick. So AT&T is doing a promo on the prepaid side. If you buy it, granted, you have to buy it in a year, but that brings it down to $25 a month. 16 gigabytes of data. 16 gigabytes of data for $300 for the year.
Okay, so when you're testing this network, do you say, "Oh, I got that Boost Infinite"? Or are you gonna say, "I got that AT&T"? Because you're
gonna say with shame, I went with Boost,
and it's not the Boost Infinite Project Genesis version.
Yep.
The
credit check really is insane, though, man. Like, honestly, if you're doing like a BYOD, man, they shouldn't require you to do a credit check.
Hell no.
I feel like there should be some alternative solution for verification. Look, I know people like to dog on Cabletown, but can we just agree that Comcast does do one thing right, and that is they make it relatively easy to give them your money, and by that I mean easy enroll, right? Comcast has this thing called easy enroll where you just put your card on file, auto pay, paperless billing, bada bing, bada boom, you're straight. No credit check required.
I don't know if I want to give Big Cable any props, man.
I mean, it's a better solution than requiring a social in a soft and or hard check.
With the Boost Infinite or whatever, is this going to become a new drug dealer phone like the old Boost?
Well, Metro, Cricket, I mean, they've all qualified for that distinction.
Hey, I think Mobile X might be too.
Jesus, Pete, Jesus.
Anytime
listen.
you're coming in at a certain value, I mean, anything's fair game, bro.
I mean, look. Mobile X at least has some, reputation to hold, right? Like some. Like, I mean, they got a cool like neat like they. I don't want to call it a gimmick.
Cameron's got a good point. The drug dealers get Trap Phone. It's called Trap Phone, TRAP.
Isn't that now Verizon?
It's Trap Phone by Verizon. Trap or die, bro.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was gonna say like Mobile X at least has a gimmick. I guess I don't know if I want to call it a gimmick, but like they have a unique like selling point, right? And the thing that makes Boost Infinite disappointing is they don't have one, right? Like the ones that they would have, which is either dish access, right, or coming in with an incredibly aggressive like unlimited plan, like as close to a true unlimited plan as one could exist in the U.S., right? Those are the two things they could have did to like be unique, right? And they didn't leverage either of those, and that's the thing that makes it feel bad.
What is Zero Cool talking about here?
I have no clue where the purple. I don't get the purple rain. I don't get the joke.
By the way, Boost is selling no cap data.
Hey, let's change gears. I want to hear what's going on with T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T here. You have something in the title about them here.
I do. Here's some AT&T stuff actually, and I don't know. I look at AT&T from a scope now of like, as they move forward as this new business. Right, they've refocused themselves. They've gone away from the Randall Stevenson era with all the media. We now have like consecutive quarters where we have alignment to a core focus, and some people were questioning whether or not they were going to be able to sustain promotions and how long that was going to keep up. But the CEO was talking about it this week, and he's happy with the way things are going with those promotions. So the question is can they sustain this everyone gets the same upgrade promotion, right? New and existing customers, same deals. No other company is really doing that. Verizon doesn't really do it, and T-Mobile, everything's built around Magenta MAX to get the best deal. So McElfresh was speaking about that, and I wanted to kind of get your guys' take on this. Do you think there's going to come a point where AT&T is going to they're just going to look at this and say, expensive, we don't want to do this anymore. It's expensive to take in all these cheap old iPhones and give people these brand new iPhone 14 Pros and all of this, when meanwhile their competitors don't do this, right? And big shout out to Anwar. Thank you for the super chat, sir. He said Mobile X is still afloat. And yes, they are still afloat. They're in beta. They're doing their thing. And actually, we're looking to hopefully reach out to Peter Adderton in the near future and see if we can get him on the show. Probably sometime next year. We'll let you guys know when that happens.
It'll probably be after CES.
Yeah. So, absolutely. And so back to this thing right here, right? McElfresh is talking about wireless device promotions. It's expensive. But the one thing that AT&T did to ensure that the money comes back, 36-month installments. I think that's the only reason this makes sense for AT&T, because if it's 24 months, they don't feel good about giving people a $1,000 promotion.
So there's a lot to unpack here, Sneed. You were on a roll, but I got to unpack this and compartmentalize this. Let's start off with your first question that was asked. Can AT&T sustain to do this? Short answer is yes, absolutely. I did the math real quick. Assuming that AT&T is selling unlimited start, which is like $70 of revenue, that's $2,520 over a 36-month time period. Subtract 1,000 for the promo, and they still have a net gain before other expenses are calculated of $1,520. So can they afford to do this? Yes. Does AT&T want to continue to do this? As the follow-up part of your question, the answer is obviously not. If there is an opportunity in the market, competition ties down a little bit, or this stops getting them a larger portion of net ads, or maybe they're just satisfied with the amount of customers in their subscriber base in the United States, they will absolutely look at either reducing the promo, or if God willed it, they would happily go cold turkey and just keep the extra money for something else.
Because the phones they sell, like the number one seller for them are these iPhones.
Yes.
And they're freaking expensive, dude. $1,000 to start for a Pro, $1,100 to start for a Pro Max. Those are the two best-selling phones at the Death Star.
Yeah, but they're only giving $800 and $1,000 for the promos.
Yeah, $1,000, dude. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, but think about it. You're thinking about it from the wrong perspective, Sneed, right? Like, think about it like this, right? There is the cost of retaining a customer, right? Because the discussion here is, can they afford to get this to existing customers and new customers equally, right?
Right.
So in the case for the existing customer, right? Think of the $1,000 as the cost of retaining the customer. AT&T might have spent that money in other ways, right? Maybe it's credits, maybe it's doing a loyalty discount, right? Or they can just do this. This is the more like in-your-face way of basically ensuring that customer stays with you for another 3 years, right? $1,000 versus the cost of acquiring a customer. And I'll bet you my bottom dollar that if you look at the cost of acquiring a new customer, this tactic actually is probably significantly cheaper for AT&T.
For the retention piece, yes. I agree with you. But acquiring new customers is tough, bro.
That's what I'm getting at. So I'm saying for AT&T to offer like $1,000 just to give a customer a new phone just so you make sure you can keep them around, to me, and probably to AT&T, and the reason why it even happens, it's a cheap expense. Plus, there's ancillary benefits to doing this, right? Like, I don't know what the math is, but generally speaking, ensuring that your subscriber base has access to newer devices does in some sense reduce other ancillary costs, whether it becomes from like the amount of devices you have to support. And I'm not just talking about like literally supporting, but also like, training your care workers on to be able to support if there's a problem, to ensuring that they have access to the most efficient technologies on the network, right? Like when we went from
only keeping so many Wi-Fi calling profiles.
But like when we went from 3G, and specifically when we went from 3G to LTE, right, Sneed?
Shout out to Zero Cool. Thanks for the super chat, sir.
When we went from 3G to LTE, all the MNOs saw a reduction in operational expense once they finished building out their LTE network, because LTE was significantly cheaper to transmit data over than using HSPA plus. Like there was a major efficiency gain from that, right? And 5G, once that becomes a thing, like fully fleshed out, right? Should be in theory at least 30% more efficient utilization of the spectrum than LTE. So there'll be future operational cost reductions that can be had potentially, and ensuring that your customers are transmitting their data over that more efficient method in the long term does benefit AT&T. So there's multi-purpose angles to this.
This was always the question at all these investor conferences. You know, the money people, the analysts, they're like, yo, how long are you going to do this for? This is expensive. Because the competitors don't do it, Dennis. That, I think, is my angle. Verizon doesn't do it. They don't match. They don't run the same promotions for new and existing. And T-Mobile 100% does not. In fact, they make it an emphasis to tell you you're getting half on Magenta of what you would be getting on Magenta MAX. Right? So that's their angle. In order to get that money to compensate on the difference, you got to scratch their back and get on the Max, which you're going to be paying an extra $10-15 a month per line. Right?
15, yeah.
So that's the scratch my back, I scratch yours. You know,
Yeah,
get a better phone deal if you're willing to pay more for the service.
Yeah, but look at AT&T's pricing, right? Like you mentioned T-Mobile upselling the Magenta MAX, right? If you look at AT&T's pricing, though, AT&T's cheapest offering, which is the unlimited starter, once all fees are accounted for, essentially comes out to Magenta in cost, if not more. Same thing with Extra, right? Extra.
Yeah, but they're giving, but for the starter unlimited, you're getting the same deal as you would if you were on the Elite or the Premium.
I know, but I'm saying what I'm getting at here is like Magenta Max is top ceiling for revenue. Best case scenario, Magenta Max single line, $85, right?
Right.
And I'm saying AT&T already strikes past that with Extra. Starter already comes close, and Extra surpasses that, which means Elite is like an extra $10 more probably than what Magenta Max costs as far as revenue goes for T-Mobile, because there's like hidden fees there, right, that AT&T has. So, and then also remember too, like AT&T is probably netting out some other revenue to other revenue and write-offs probably to offset some of the costs, right? Like that maybe T-Mobile doesn't have access to. Like for example, there's the activation charge, right? That AT&T charges if you're not like part of ARP or some part of discount program, right? There's the accessory sales that they're probably making at time of purchase, which is basically all profit and helping offset the cost of subsidizing that device. And there's going to be just other stuff there, right? Like I'm sure they're doing something where it ends up working out. Maybe they have some hidden deal with Apple for all I know to make it happen, right? Maybe they're buying large enough quantities of iPhones where they can strike out a deal with Apple that T-Mobile just doesn't get the privilege of doing. You're highlighting is Dennis or Spicy Dennis showing, or Social Dennis or Spicy Dennis showing up tonight. I don't know, man. I haven't had anything to get me really spicy yet.
But it's a possibility, right?
There's always a possibility.
All right, you guys good with this?
Yeah, I'm cool.
I didn't put my 2 cents in.
Go ahead, Pete. Hit us with it, man.
You know, I'm sure AT&T's itching, waiting for weakness in either T-Mobile or Verizon so they can just stop giving these promotions to people. It's not like it is good for their bottom line. I mean, it may attract customers, but they're only in for the iPhone promo, and they're not, including other things. They're not making much on them. It's not like there aren't markets like Pittsburgh where AT&T is the only good service, and they still run those promotions in Pittsburgh. It's not good for their bottom line. Their network in Pittsburgh can sell itself, but if they keep running it there, apparently they don't have faith in what Dennis says is their god tier network. And if you look at like T-Mobile and Verizon, I know quite a few people who never take advantage of their promotions. They're sticking around because they believe they're getting what they're paying for, and the devices they've had function fine on the network. So,
Pete, that's interesting you brought that up. I haven't bought a device from Verizon since the original Pixel. I bought it on Black Friday.
the last device I got from T-Mobile was a 50% off Pixel Watch with an activation of a wearable line.
What was that, 2 years ago?
No, that was when the Pixel Watch
this
came
year.
out.
Oh, you said Pixel Watch. That's right. Yeah.
And the only reason why I got it was I was going to get the LTE one anyway, and the data line anyway. But they were like, "Hey, we'll cover half of it in bill credits." I'm like, "Okay, I'm down." But in general, I'm not looking for a new device or planning on buying a new device that I want to be locked from a carrier. I mean, I get my Pixel phones, and that has, T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon on it. I cannot get a locked device, and I'm sure you're in the same boat, Sneed.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hey, so changing gears from AT&T, what's the Verizon topic of tonight? Because that name keeps getting thrown around.
Mm-hmm. Verizon CEO Hans Vestberg, you know him. Gators, bro. Pete, you got a good pair of Gators that you could rock the next time we do a live stream, bro?
Oh, hell no. I don't make Hans money.
Verizon CEO, C-band gives fixed wireless access staying power. Dennis, we talked about this a little bit on the phone. Let's do this in front of the peeps, man. Let's do it for the SMT Nation. All right, cable and fiber players have argued that fixed wireless access is going to have extreme limitations when it comes to capacity and throughput. Hans Vestberg, the CEO of Verizon, pushing back, says that their mid-band spectrum gives them the ability to serve more than the estimated 4 to 5 million fixed wireless customers they are shooting for by 2025. He added, Verizon is in prime position moving forward to converge with fixed mobile service bundles. He specifically stated that the 60 megahertz of C-band they have today is only a starting point, and with the full 160 megahertz average bandwidth, they will have no challenges in network capacity moving forward. Dennis, have at it, sir.
This is the first time, I think, on this show where I can truthfully say that Vestberg is a clown.
Wait. The first time?
Yeah. This is the dumbest sentence or thought process I've ever heard come out of a person's mouth. If they're using as much data as their Fios customer base, in what world do they think 160 megahertz of spectrum is going to be enough to amply provide enough bandwidth to support the home household user and the increasing mobile traffic? Data usage does not go down. It might change where it gets utilized, whether it be
or what time of the day, maybe.
Yeah, like the time of day or like where it gets utilized may change. But there's one thing that isn't changing, and data usage is consistently going up year over year. I think the average household data now after the pandemic is something like 500 gigs, half a terabyte. And if Hans, and that's just the average, mind you, that doesn't include someone like me who literally on average uses 2 to 4 terabytes a month, right? If Hans gets one person like me on his macro, I'm destroying his life. Like, I'm destroying that sector. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, it's just the truth. Man. It only takes like one person, right?
Okay. All right. So let's backtrack a little bit. Okay. 160 megahertz of C-band. We gotta probably start talking about 10 gig backhaul, supplemental millimeter wave, and I think if not by 2025, at some point shortly after, a very serious reinvestment into small cells. which they're doing. We have confidence that they're going to small cell things pretty well. But this is a tough claim, man, because I'm of the belief that if you look at the current trends, we have mobile users increasing data usage 20% every year. We have more devices getting on the network. And then we have fixed wireless access coming into the fold, in which you're going to have more customers on fixed wireless, including each fixed wireless customer using more over time. Those are multipliers, right? So collectively, I think Hans's estimation of his time frame is wrong. It's good for now. I think the trouble comes is when they do get to 4 to 5 million, and areas that don't have split cells, those are going to be concern areas.
Well, Sneed, they don't even need 4 to 5 million. Legitimately, let's take. I know people hate when I always bring up Pittsburgh, but sorry. Let's bring up Pittsburgh for a second, okay? Town called Aliquippa. C-band went live. It was one of the first towers that got upgraded to C-band. Over a 6-month time frame from when C-band went live and everything kind of got fleshed out to when the fixed wireless product became available to those addresses in that location, immediate degradation of performance for the service. We went from seeing approximately 600 megabits per second down on the early days to LT levels of performance at 50 meg on C-band, 60 megahertz channel. Now, adding additional spectrum, 160 megahertz, will absolutely resolve that problem in the short term.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do when more people get the fixed wireless? I can promise you right now, maybe only 15 to 20% of households in that area actually have the Verizon fixed wireless. Maybe. What happens when it hits 50%? Because that's usually what happens in competitive home internet markets, right? Typically, there's a 50-50 split between the incumbent and the competitor.
Mm-hmm.
That additional bandwidth easily gets consumed, and that's basing it off of current day usage and current day applications. We haven't even talked about the fact that 10 years from now, there might be some new phenomenon use case for the home internet, right? Like there might be some product, basically like a new Netflix of sorts, right? Like Netflix broke the internet when it first became popular, right? You remember that, Sneed, right?
I do.
Remember the lawsuits that were happening with Verizon getting sued for having poor peering agreements and indirectly throttling the connection? There's always an opportunity that a new Netflix comes on the scene, some new power task. Maybe it's maybe it's game streaming. Maybe something like Google Stadia finally takes off, right? And that's the thing that just brings
Stadia's too soon, man.
Well, that's why this is 10 years in the future, Sneed or Pete. Maybe it's something like Stadia, right? It brings networking to its knees. I think that Hans is short-sighted. I also know that he mentioned that they could always just do macro cell splits, which was the same terminology they said back when they acquired AWS, and we saw how that panned out, which is that it failed. And I think they should learn from history of both themselves and others like AT&T, and really look forward into either expanding their mid-band holdings or, as you touched on, focus still on the mmWave deployments to offload traffic and free up these mid-band frequencies for mobile use specifically.
I think we're going to be seeing a heavy investment into new C-RAN sites that have both mmWave and C-band. I think you're going to be seeing a lot of that stuff, especially in markets where they have the MCI fiber. I think it's a slam dunk. Like Cleveland, for example, upstate New York, places where we see the one fiber. You know, in the Midwest, Verizon has a pretty good stronghold of that, as well as on the East Coast. I think those are places where Verizon heavily invests in C-RAN, and the congestion won't be an issue. They're going to find places where the home internet has really taken off and target those areas for permitting and have those small cells built. And it's going to be both. It's going to be mmWave, right? Multi-dwelling units, you know, houses that can get, and they're working on solutions for stretching signal, and they're working on, you know, solutions for making the connection better. We see the mmWave has come a long way. I think the mmWave is going to be a crucial player in those instances, and I think I think the splitting of the cells will be enough. The only thing I think Hans is wrong about is the time horizon. He's saying they won't have to split cells for 10 years. I totally disagree. I think they're going to be splitting cells in a few years. I think by 2025, the cell splitting process will be tangible. They're going to be responding to the data traffic, like what happened in your case instant, Dennis, where the 5600 downlink went to 50. When they go full capacity, when they go full bandwidth, that buys them a couple more years. But I think on those locations, they're going to be splitting cells. And that's where we're going to get the mmWave C-RAN, and we're going to get the C-band on the C-RAN as well.
Yeah, but Sneed, let's look at history, right? Verizon said, we got 20 megahertz AWS. We're plenty fine for the next decade to come.
20 megahertz, though.
Yeah, but remember what they said back then. We got 20 megahertz AWS at this auction. We're fine for the next decade to come. We'll just do
Yeah, but this is not 20 megahertz.
I know, but you're not listening to me. We'll be fine for the next decade was their phrasing back then too, and we'll just do cell splits. But then what happened? They ran out of room to do cell splits.
I don't think they said we'll be fine for the next decade with 20 megahertz of LTE spectrum.
Go back, man. Way back machine. I promise you they did. Roger Entner was actually the one that also mentioned this, actually, I think on one of our Best Phone Plans podcasts. Or maybe it was yours.
For 10 years?
Yeah, that was the thought process. I'm saying this exact quote happened already.
I disagree with the time horizon. The 10-year thing is stupid. That's just dumb. I think by 2025 we're going to know a lot about what Verizon needs to do with the small cell and the C-RAN.
Do you want to know my take here? If fixed wireless worked as
you see the cost to build the C-RAN is down, Dennis. You know that.
Yeah, but hear me out on something, Sneed. If fixed wireless was as easy to deploy as Hans and T-Mobile like to think it is, then big cable would have cut up every single cable line and immediately transitioned to this 10 years ago, right? They would have already started shoring up massive quantities of spectrum to ensure they had 160 megahertz and called it a day, because it's a lot cheaper to operate a fixed wireless
Dennis,
solution.
These are the evolutions of their business models. Like, cable started with coaxial, cable started with wireline. They're transitioning to wireless, and now it's vice versa. If I'm looking at business transition, I think wireless mobile network operators are in a better position than cable, unless cable can definitively pivot to a tangibly better product. But until we get more symmetrical speed, then what the hell are we really switching to?
The point that I'm getting at here, Sneed, or what I'm trying to touch on here, is like, you can only do cell splits so much. At some point, Verizon has to literally have a small cell with mmWave gear.
Do you know who never says this?
Who?
This type of comment? Engineers never say this.
You don't think Verizon's gonna have to have basically a small cell, just like Comcast has a node on like every block?
I can envision places where Verizon has a lot of users on a macro cell tower that they definitely are going to have to split a cell there. But if you put mmWave, you put all your spectrum on air, I think a lot of those problems are solved. I think people are underplaying the importance of mmWave in these solutions.
I'm not. I'm saying mmWave is going to be a requirement, and I'm saying that it can't just be at the macro level. It's going to have to literally be almost like a node structure, like how Comcast does, like, okay, in this case, it'd be macro, and your small cells would be your amps. Small cell, small cell, small cell, small cell. And especially more important as you get further away from the macro. Like, if you looked at old DOCSIS and how it's been evolving over time, right? It used to go node plus 6 amps. And it became node plus 5 amps. And now it's going to node plus 0, no amps. Comcast has brought fiber close to the people's premises. They've expanded the trunk lines going from the node and reduced the number of households that are being connected to a node, and doing so as well, right? That's how they're able to achieve like these super high speeds, and they're talking about doing 2 gigs or offering 2 gigs download and stuff like that. That was only possible by reducing the amount of subscribers and upping the bandwidth. Verizon in this scenario, if you just keep them at a macro level, isn't reducing the amount of subscribers that are using this cell site at all. And even if they do a cell split, that's no different than what a Comcast would do if they did a node split. It's only a temporary solution that might last for a couple more years, but it's just a Band-Aid fix.
Pete, chime in, bro.
First off, my last shoe acquisition was a pair of New Balances that actually fit me. 11.5 4E.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I can't get Gators in my size, man.
Well, packing, bro.
Firstly, C-band, and I have no idea why the hell they're calling it C-band. This is N77, N78. Will not give fixed wireless access staying power. It's the millimeter wave, which is,
Facts.
broadcasted fiber. You can only fit so much on a N77 site, even if you're doing 64 by 64 MIMO, which off the top of my head is the cap you can do at 140 megahertz. You can divide it out into small cells as much as you like, but if you're in places where the capacity needs are that large and you need dotted small cells, Verizon's the millimeter wave king. They should, get off their balls and just put up millimeter wave nodes if they're getting that much money off the fixed wireless.
Well, Pete, it's both. The solution is always going to be, always has been, is both. Like we've talked about beefcake, layer cake, however you want to call it, right?
Layer cake is good, but beefcake's at 124 by 1024 by 1024 MIMO.
But not just on the mid-band, it's the millimeter wave too, right? Like These CRAN sites need to have every frequency going. Whatever radio frequencies these companies have, those sites need to be fixed with all of it.
Yep. By the way, Jake, you are correct. You do want, but you also want low band to give it a little more distance. Drain every last drop you can out of that millimeter wave power.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so look,
you want the layer cake in rural America. You just taper down on the roads. You don't do the millimeter waves. But in that town center where you get the population of 50 people, give a millimeter wave, you have customers for life.
I'm just going to say prime example of highlighting how millimeter wave can make a difference is just look at any airport that has Verizon millimeter wave and compare that to a carrier that hasn't done any millimeter wave small cells. No DAS, no nothing. It's a night and day level of difference as far as performance goes. Right, Pete? You were sitting in the SNA?
Yeah, the millimeter wave is where the performance goes, and everything else you can use to just expand as much as humanly possible, that delicious spectrum.
Listen, I have to keep the same energy. I was critical of T-Mobile when they said they wanted to put 7-8 million subscribers on N41 for home internet. I'm still critical of that approach. I've said time and time again they are going to have to transition to a millimeter wave offload for as much of those fixed wireless subscribers as possible, because it not only is going to support their mobile network to have the millimeter wave, but it's going to keep people off of those mid-band channels. And I will also remind people that the potential in 5G networking lies in the higher frequencies. There's nothing wrong with mid-band. I can appreciate it. I love it. It's great. Millimeter wave is special today, bro. Imagine where it's going to be in 5 years.
Mid-band is the new low band. Mid-band is the new low band, okay?
Sneed?
It should literally only be used for uplink, essentially, for the home internet customer. Millimeter wave should be used for all download capacity.
So, Sneed, I've been loving my N41. Virtually indistinguishable in the house.
But Pete, don't you want your N41 to be like undeniably unadulterated by fixed wireless as much as possible? Wouldn't you love to see that it would be your neighbors that are using the fixed wireless? You'd prefer that they were on a millimeter wave channel?
I'd actually be surprised if my neighbors were using the fixed wireless. The 5 neighbors around me here has $50 gig, but
I made a hypothetical
I was in a situation where we didn't have this delicious fiber, which is good for living and functioning. I'd probably be on the fixed wireless, and damn it, I'd want the millimeter wave.
All right, so Brian, this comment right here, this is precisely what I was saying, why I had more reservations about T-Mobile's approach than Verizon's. I think they have more tools at their disposal with respect to the foundation of networking, meaning they do more of their own fiber. They're more willing to engage in embrace the grind of millimeter wave, and they take CBRS seriously. I think that's to their advantage, but again, they have to multi-purpose their network. These are things they'll have to do. Go ahead, Dennis.
I mean, I've said what I said. I think the approach they're taking is a little silly. I said that millimeter wave is going to, if they want to actually have a home internet product, a true home internet product, they're going to need literally a small cell, basically just like Comcast has a node on every block. I think that I'm disagreeing with you about the cell split, then that will be enough. I'm saying that's not enough. They literally have to have small cells, basically every block or every other block with millimeter wave on it.
I just think they'll have to have it wherever they have big market share for 5G home.
And
like
I'm saying that
mandatory.
they won't. And I'm saying they won't get the market share unless they do what I'm saying. Because Comcast Comcast will just crush them. They'll become the new DSL in the speed comparison.
Gotcha. All right.
Oh, this is an interesting article. Here's why users are ditching cable for fixed wireless. Tell me more.
Wait. Let me guess. Cable is abusive, manipulative, causes what is it? Florence Nightingale syndrome or whatever it is, where you take pleasure from being abused. They give arbitrary rate hikes. They have crappy insurance. They lie to their customers, ballooning pricing.
I would have started with the ballooning pricing.
Saying they bundle equipment fee, but you get an extra fee. Insurance that doesn't cover anything but is required for the service. Customer service in the Philippines or El Salvador. Look, the fact that basically their backhaul is running on coal power. Despite the fact they have fiber to the node, you're still getting this crappy coax, which their non-union installers don't know how to run. What else am I missing?
Let me throw Carlos's comment in here. He said, "Fixed wireless is for chumps. Screw that BS. It's tanking the networks, fiber or coax, or it's bust." Look, Los, I'm telling you right now, man. There are some people who are lining up for fixed wireless access. They are dying to get away from cable.
Yeah, but they're dying.
It's not the cable technology; it's the cable company that they're trying to get away from. Let's be clear about that.
There we go.
Yeah, nobody hates cable technology. I think the cable technology even today is sufficient. I think the trouble comes in the companies are trash, right? So if they were more consumer friendly with respect to like fair pricing, where it's flat and then you can know what you expect, like people would prefer to pay $50 or $60 a month. Flat rate, it'll never change, than to have $39.99 for like the first 2 years and then it balloons to $96.99, right? So I think that part's a problem, and I think that Venom just leaves. They just want to leave their providers, and that's where fixed wireless comes in. And Verizon and T-Mobile are like, here, have our wireless network at a $50 rate or whatever.
Hey. I got a serious question. Does anybody remember me saying I compared Comcast to Goebbels?
Gerbils?
No. Are
you
talking about the Nazi propaganda?
The hell is a
person?
Gerbil, bro?
A Nazi?
Look up the Holocaust.
Oh, damn. Okay, Anwar, thank you for the super chat. Let's see what he's got to say here before we move on here. Left Comcast for Verizon 5G Home. Now that they built out the infrastructure, better speeds than Xfinity with lower latency. How sustainable is that, though, without, additional capacity added to the mobile side? So...
They need more capacity.
Right.
Also, is that a Delta?
Instead
of a capital A?
It looks like for his name, bro. But, yeah. All right, good stuff. T-Mobile spilled the beans today, Dennis.
What did they spill the beans on?
They did an expose on the cable market. You ready for this?
Sure.
All right, man. Here is the infographic that we need. I gotta see if I can maybe make this a little bit larger. Maybe this helps. Okay. Why customers switch to T-Mobile from cable. All right. 58% of them. This was the number one rated reason. Lower price.
We already knew that.
Number two, at 41%, no annual contract obligation. That involves price.
Not surprising. Knew that. Continue.
32%. Number three, a new home internet option is available.
Again, not surprising. We knew
All right,
that.
so take a look at this top three. Price, and Venom for the cable, right?
Yeah, just something new. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so what's left? The bottom two. So it looks like better speeds over 20. It's 27%, and then bundling home internet with wireless, which people don't really care about. They'll take the better deal.
That 27% of people that said faster speeds probably didn't actually have like good cable. There's no way.
The uplink is very easy for that to happen. It's the downlink that surprises me, because in most instances, what do we think of fixed? We think of what, 100 to 300 meg.
I mean, look, here's the what you should expect with fixed. 1 to 300 meg down.
T-Mobile fixed wireless. Let's be specific, right?
Well, I think this is applicable to Verizon too. 1 to 300 down.
But
right?
let's be clear, this data is specifically for T-Mobile, though.
I know, but Verizon
Verizon
caps CBN at 300. So
they do.
So again, 1 to 300 down, and I would say between 10 to 50 up is what you should expect. And both of those things you can get on cable and faster. You can get literally, I feel confident in saying that anywhere that has cable probably has gigabit download speeds. Doesn't mean you're willing to pay the price, but I'm saying it should be available, probably. And I'm willing to confidently say that if you have cable, you could probably at least get minimum up to 35. So I think faster speeds is a combination of, again, going back to price, people not willing to pay for it, or they didn't actually have good cable.
Let's do a value evaluation. How much is the highest tier plan on average from Comcast and Charter? Because that's the only way
on promo or without promo.
It doesn't even matter, because honestly, bro, like that's the only way you're getting 35 meg uplink. You have to get the most expensive plan from either of those providers.
Fine, but I'm asking, it's important that you answer promo or no promo.
Okay, no promo.
No promo. Most expensive plan, $130. That's including modem rental that I'm pricing in for, because I'm assuming that you probably are renting their equipment.
Well, geez, man, that's a damning statement, because fixed wireless is coming in at $50 on average.
25 with that Magenta MAX.
But that's a promo. If we start talking promos, you said you were talking about 25. If we start talking,
I said 50.
I was talking about Pete.
Okay, so let's stick with the promo so it's even, right?
Okay, so promos.
Yeah, so 25 for fixed,
$50 for gig on Comcast, with all promos.
So there is a price difference.
Last?
What's up, Pete?
How long does the Comcast promo last?
On gig, typically 2 to 3 years, depending on market.
That is really the only problem, bro. That is the only problem cable does to itself. The promotional pricing is a pain in the ass. Most people can tolerate things that are flat rate and they know what they're going to pay. At some point, cable just has to wake up and fix that, and they're going to change everything. Like, they can bury fixed wireless today. They can bury fixed wireless just by making a fair rate and flat. No promos, just flat.
I pay $49.95 a month, and I'm going to do that until I move. And that's only if I leave the city. Also, Anwar says, or Lanwar says the promo only lasts a year on cable in his market. That's after that, it probably goes up to $160.
That's probably because he probably did a no contract offering and probably did something that was less than gig. Gig always has a 2-year price lock. Always, minimum.
By the way, I want to give a special shout out to friend of the channel, friend of the show, Roger Etner, Recon Analytics, T-Mobile paid somebody at their company to compile this data. Roger could have given them this information a year ago.
He gave it to me a year ago.
See? T-Mobile just had to cut the check. They could have had this information a year ago. Big dummies. Big shout out to Roger, man. The GOAT.
We have some good phone calls now and then.
David said he pays $110 with modem rental for 1.2 down, 240 up.
That's some damn good speeds, bro.
It's probably like 1.4 actually with the OR provisioning, but
they do that? Yeah.
Dude, Comcast. Look, you can say everything you want about Comcast. You can say everything you want about Comcast under the sun, but there's one thing you can't say that with a straight face, and that's that they don't offer the speeds that they say they're going to sell to you.
Yeah, but their pricing is shit.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you on that.
You know, everything else we can all agree that everything is good, you know, but like the dude, balloon pricing is disrespectful. Dennis, I swear to you, if you came in and bought a shawarma sandwich from me on Friday and it was $10, and then you came in the next day and it was $20, you'd never come back.
So, Starlink, you mean that company that was supposed to innovate rural connectivity, but is focusing most of its effort on markets with at least 2 internet providers?
Dennis, what's your concern about usage trends in fixed wireless access? Do you see these numbers?
Yeah, I said about 500 for industry, and we're getting close there.
Yeah, we sure are.
And so, I'm gonna guess if we talk 5 years from now, based off annual increases of usage, we're probably getting close to about 800-900 gigs.
Big shout out to Red Cabin Acoustic, man. Appreciate you. New subscriber, feller that I met over on Dark Corner Studios live stream today, man. Big shout out to you, and appreciate you coming through.
What type of music does Red Cabin play?
Dude, I just subscribed to his channel. I'm going to be consuming some of that content. I know that he's an audio buff, a music buff, instrumental. I saw one of his thumbnails on one of his videos. I think he was playing a guitar. So I'm excited to check it out.
We may need to talk to him about when we're redoing our audio systems.
Yeah, man. All right, so here's the usage trends, Pete. T-Mobile customers, right around average, a little bit less. All right, so T-Mobile's at 478 gigs a month, the T-Mobile home internet customer. Industry average is 496. In terms of the median, the T-Mobile customer is a little higher. No big deal. 23% of T-Mobile home internet customers use 100 gigs or less. 11% use 1 terabyte or more. Holy hell, dog. 1 terabyte or more.
You say that, but there's something I want to point out here, Sneed. It wasn't that long ago where using greater than 1 terabyte was literally 1%. Look at how that's grown.
I think they lied. I personally think they lied.
Well, if we're basing
I think
it off,
they exaggerated. I think it was probably like 7 or 8%.
But let's just assume that we based it off of what they were saying was truthful, right?
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say, Dennis.
Look at how this has drastically grown in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
Something else I want to point out real quick because we didn't address this, and I just noticed it. T-Mobile has higher median monthly usage than industry average. That's insane.
Yeah, it's like flip-flopped with the mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 1 terabyte number is bananas. So 11 out of every 100 T-Mobile customers are using 1 terabyte or more. Yeah. Doesn't that qualify as abuse on a cellular network, Dennis?
For a cellular connection, sure. For home internet, that's par for the course, man.
Yeah. What do you say, Pete?
That seems like home internet. And again, my router does not tell me how much I use, nor does my ISP, so I can't even compare.
Look, all I'm saying is, man, 11 out of 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're one of those unfortunate souls that happens to live in an area where there's 11 people that are me hitting your cell site, You're gonna wish that T-Mobile never sold the fixed wireless in that area.
Oh,
But
God.
it's not 11% of the
Oh,
T-Mobile home
God.
internet users on a cell site are doing 1 terabyte, right?
Wait, hold
I
up.
know, but I'm just saying
Hold
you're
up.
gonna have certain instances where it might be.
Look at those numbers. You got 88% of users using Facebook. That's probably where the T-Mobile data breaches come from.
Oh, damn.
And what's this 2% Pokemon and 2% Pokemon Go?
Oh, yeah, it is there. Okay, so this is usage by activity. What are T-Mobile home internet customers doing? Big time social media stuff. YouTube's 91%. Yeah, so they're streaming YouTube. We got some Xbox. We got some PS, whatever. Call of Duty's the number 1 game.
Can I just say real quick that 12% for Call of Duty isn't because people are actually playing the game online. It's just the massive freaking patches that you have to download. They're like 50 plus gigs in size.
Dude, you're forgetting the fact that when you buy it on your PlayStation or your Xbox, you're basically buying a DRM key and you have to download the 200 gig game when you put it in.
Wait, hold on. I want to respond to Anwar's comment when he was talking about what I was talking about earlier. He says that they'll find the dentists on the cell sites and kick them off the cell. Well, if you're doing that, then you're not offering a true home internet product that's uncapped and unlimited.
I mean, we're gonna kick off the dentists.
I mean,
you gotta kick off the docs.
Hold on. To be clear, I'm not saying T-Mobile can't do that, but then it's not. But then it's not an unlimited product. It's not no data cap. There's clearly a defined hard cap.
Well, I think that's very strategic. Why they said it'll always be a DPRIO, right? They literally said no QCI, so which is different. Like Verizon is the other way. They're given a QCI, right?
No QCI means you can, have people download 2 tera, 3 tera a month, but that 41 will knock them off.
Anwar, you're fine with that until you're the dentist, right? Because remember, telecom companies are usually like, I'd say, a decade behind what is like actually bad. Like, case in point, let's talk about Comcast for a quick second again. When Comcast was first trialing out data caps out in the Midwest, they used 300 gigabytes as their benchmark and literally hard shut you off as service. And back then, the average household usage, mind you, was already pushing close to 360 gigabytes at the time of their testing, right? 1 terabyte seems to be where most people have data caps, or 1.2 actually after the pandemic seems to be where most people have set their data caps at, right? Average household using close to about half of that, which means that there is a good portion, let's just call it 20%, that are floating really close to that zone, and give them an extra little push and maybe some use case. Maybe they got a new PC for that month and they're pushing past that cap because they're setting up their new computer, right? And that's you crying about how you're getting kicked off for going over that ridiculous arbitrary number that was set by the telecom company, which for all intents and purposes doesn't affect their bottom line if you use 1 gig or 10,000 gigs, because the actual cost was an upfront cost for putting up the equipment to give you the service in the first place. So I have a big problem with data caps in general because I know what it costs to offer a gig of data, realistically speaking, and it's fractions of a penny. It's like your tap water. Anyway, sorry, rant over.
No, but I mean, it's good points, Dennis. I mean, you're looking at the operational side of it, so it's facts.
Well, I'm looking at it from look, my problem is I consider internet connectivity in the same vein that everyone should have electricity and running water. Like, to me, in the modern world, you can't function.
Dude, back up the freaking truck. Running water is above everything.
Not for socialists. Not for socialist.
Not for
Dennis.
socialist Dennis.
Listen. I can go down to the park and drink from the water fountain if I have to. But
bro, see, he's willing to take.
This sounds like cholera waiting to happen.
I know he's willing to take a strange approach to fetching water as opposed to having it conveniently arriving to him. He just needs to make sure he's got gigabit speed symmetrical.
I don't even need gigabit speed symmetrical. I just need to have reliable internet connectivity. And I'm saying, in the modern world, right, you literally cannot function without an internet connection. You can't even access.
You're not happy without a fast internet connection. That's the truth, Dennis. You're not happy without a very fast, reliable internet connection.
You're right. I wouldn't be happy, but I'm saying you can't even function without. I mean, you can't get a job at McDonald's, for example, without having internet to apply. You can't access your freaking bank funds. Literally can't access your
Dennis is trying to make the argument that you can't sleep without a broadband connection.
I can access my bank funds without the internet. I go into the bank. They see my reserve card. They go, "Hi, Peter. How can we help you?" And if they can't even access my account, I need to pull out 100. They have it on faith I could get out 1,000, no problem.
That would rock Dennis's world. I don't know if Dennis would want to exist in that world anymore. That's old Dennis. This is new Dennis. This is Dennis 2.0, like Doxus Dennis 2.0.
Look, all I'm saying is and I'm open about my pyramid of needs. To me, like, internet is one of the highest priority things. Like, I legitimately might go to prison if someone tried to mess with my internet connection. Like,
oh damn, son,
don't mess with my fiber.
a lawnmower.
Shout out to Anwar. Thank you, man.
No, it's a lawnmower. That's a lambda.
Yeah, but his name is Anwar. We know about it.
Yeah, I know, but he spelled it
Why are you
wrong.
getting fancy? Why are you getting fancy with it?
It's him. He's the one using Greek.
Thought it
So
was a
how much
delta.
is your psychiatrist?
Hold on. For everyone that's saying, oh wait, I highlighted the wrong comment. For everyone that's saying, you can it's just an annoyance to not have internet. I'm posing a challenge right now. Put your money where your mouth is and walk the walk. Go 2 weeks without any internet connectivity. So that means no cell data. That means no home internet at all. You can call and you can text, and that's it. I want to see if you can actually function. And I'm willing to bet you on the first day you give up.
You know what's going to end up happening? I'm basically going to be at the gym, at the bakery, and can I play Xbox?
Offline,
okay.
So
I'm basically
good. Depends on the game.
So basically, I'm going to be playing every freaking story mode on every game I have.
Yeah, but you know what's fun is, Sneed? Most new games for the new consoles require day one patches to even play. They're not even the full game on the disc.
So I can't even do that first?
Switch life.
Can't even do that first. No internet, right? No internet at all.
Dennis, you're the devil. How dare you suggest such things?
Hey, you're the one saying it's just a minor annoyance.
Bro, I gotta play pro clubs on FIFA. Come on, dog.
It's just a minor annoyance, Sneed. You can get by. Oh, by the way, Sneed.
Bro, you're talking about going to the park to fetch water from the freaking water fountain.
Hold up, Sneed. Mind you, no internet means also not using your credit card at all. Credit card transactions require data connectivity.
I got cash money, bro. Don't front.
I know. I'm just saying to the people that say they don't need the internet at all. That means no credit cards. That's data connections. You're going back to old school cash. Which means no ATMs as well, because that's also a data connection.
All right, Dennis. How many people can survive living like this?
The point is no one. That's the point. That's the point.
Dennis, Anwar says
Anwar has got the super chats coming in from every which way.
See family. Or, go outside, visit that park.
Dennis, you be doing that reading stuff?
I mean, I'd be reading on my computer, on the internet.
On the internet. Oh, man. Chuck says we used to process credit cards before the internet.
You're right. You used to dial it in with like a DSL landline style. You used to dial it in, but now we don't, because that's not secure. And now we've moved to data transmission.
See, bro, now you got Carlos worked up. Now he's gonna start tripping about the whole credit card thing, bro. I agree. I like cash, bro. Casinos, they don't have you swipe it. It's cash or no fun.
So I got some Chinese food today.
Nice.
Total came out to be like $74.
Did you get the duck, Pete?
He stopped selling the duck due to COVID.
Oh,
and sucks. We want him to bring back the crispy duck.
Yes.
But I gave him a 50, a 20, and a 10. And he absolutely loved it because there was no credit card transaction.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
I gave him a good tip on the change.
There you go.
No, but Sneed, real talk, joking aside, do you think you could even go a week without internet connection at all?
If I'm going a week, I'm doing it forever.
Could you do it?
I could.
Really?
Do
Want to put your money where your mouth is?
The channel has to close.
I'm willing to I'm willing to give you the break. I'm willing to put money. I'm willing to give you a cash money bet that you couldn't even do it for a week.
I could, but how do I do my channel, though?
That's what I'm saying. How do you do it? You're going to have to go in person on a soapbox. Not recorded.
Yeah, but that's the thing is the channel can't function. It relies, it live streams, it uploads,
Yeah, I know. You couldn't work. I know. You couldn't do the podcast without this essential service.
It would impact my earning.
Right. Essential service. Just like I couldn't work from home. That's the point. I'm saying it's essential. It's not a luxury. It's an essential item.
It is, but I won't die from not having my YouTube channel, but I would die if I was dehydrated and I couldn't fetch water.
Well, let me change this around real quick. Would you die if you didn't have money?
Yeah, but I don't need an internet connection to work at the bakery.
Just follow the train of thought. Would you die if you didn't have money?
Yeah, but I can get money without the internet.
That's not what I'm getting at. Just answer this question. Would you die if you didn't have money?
Yes.
Why would you die if you didn't have any money?
Because if you can't earn, then you can't buy your needs.
Correct. All right. Now, following this along, I work from home.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't have internet, I couldn't work, which means I couldn't make money to afford my needs.
Mm-hmm.
In a similar vein, if you didn't have internet access, you would lose money,
Dennis,
which would impact what you could afford to meet your needs for your family.
Right.
Dennis, would you consider my landline that does not require the internet connectivity?
Technically, if it's a VoIP
it's POTS.
Then, as long as you're not using it to connect to the internet and you're just using it as a phone, then no.
To pick up people saying, "Hey, can you fix this stuff for me?"
No.
What?
No, I wouldn't consider.
So I can't use it as a freaking phone?
No, I'm saying you can. You can use it.
Okay, so then I could still make money.
Carlos said you can live off the land. It's people nowadays are.
Yes, I'm gonna go buy that. I'm gonna go buy a 10-acre plot of land and plant that corn seed for the yearly harvest and grow my own crops.
You got to learn how to fish, Dennis.
I know how to fish.
Oh, okay. So you're good.
Dude,
you're going to be eating filet of fish every day.
In a developed world like the United States or Europe or China or India or anywhere that is like even remotely exempling modern day society, having internet connectivity is essential.
You know what's interesting about the Amish? They don't rely on technology. They rely on others who rely on technology. They make me laugh.
Yes, and also fun fact about the Amish. Hold
up. No, except for work. They will use a computer if their day job requires it. They just shed that evil when they go home.
So they've modernized.
Listen, fun fact about the Amish as well, Sneed, and you would know from Ohio. There's a restaurant called the Dutch House out there, ran by the Amish, and they use things that require modern technology to work to process credit card transactions, for example. So clearly, there's exceptions to the rule to make money.
Yeah. They do make some good ass butter, though, dog.
Dude, they make the best. Dude, there's 3 things that I absolutely could die for when it comes to the Amish here. I love their apple pies. I love their strawberry rhubarb. So they make proper apple pies, like the kind you're picturing, but then they make like these like single serving kind that are like strawberry rhubarb. They're also to die for, and then they make a fantastic pumpkin log. Those 3 things, man, are super good.
Chuck has a question for you. How old is Dennis? Because they're questioning the situation with not having internet connection.
Old enough that because I grew up in a rural area, I did not have good internet connectivity. I had dial-up for the longest, but also someone that is so obsessed and connected to the internet that I don't want to live without it. 26.
Onward says he grew up without internet and does not have that perception. I grew up with internet like my teenage years. We had just started getting like DSL and stuff, you know.
So
Or we were using like T1 at the high school and stuff like that.
up until I was like 14, the internet was how we like accessed.
Remember AOL, bro, the discs?
I do, but up until I was 14, the internet was how we accessed, the new Britannica. The updated encyclopedia.
Dude, Carlos is talking about getting salt and pepper from the gas stations from the packets. Not even buying his own salt and pepper. Damn, Carlos.
Jesus, Vivian, with the jokes.
I know, seriously. Do you performance measure for the routing components for wireless pieces? I haven't done it myself. Dennis, would you be interested in doing that with fixed wireless?
Wait, what's up? I'm sorry. Do you
performance measure like the routing? Compare it to wireline services, maybe? Would that be an interesting project you'd look into?
I did that when I was down in Longmont, and I could probably do it again. I mean, the testing methodology, I'll just openly tell people the testing methodology if they want to do it. Look, this is what you do. You get your three internet connection solutions that you're going to utilize, right? And you're going to run a consistent stream of tests over a duration of time, preferably doing this with all three of them over the same time span to control for other ancillary variables. And those things should be like ookla speed tests. Run that, say 20 times a day. And when you're doing that, you're going to run it like say 3 times on a controlled server that you utilize that you're going to do across the board. Do it on 2 other servers because that's how you're going to test the peering, right? Because maybe you do one that's internal for each of them, right? That's your one variable. Maybe it's like Comcast, T-Mobile server, Verizon server, right? And then like the other 2 servers are third-party servers. Maybe it's like Cox. Maybe it's like Spectrum. I don't know. But you're going to do that. Then you'll do something like waveform. You could do trace routes to known services like Google. See what the hops are to get to that end destination. Record that. Maybe do like a ping test just for idle latency. Try to control for equipment as well, of course. So, i.e., if you're using a actually no, just use the provided equipment from the ISPs. Use the provided ISP equipment. That way, you're eliminating other possible variables from a compatibility standpoint. And, do some real world testing too. Like once you compile all your hard measured results, also just do normal stuff. Like how does YouTube function? Is it letting you load 1080p without buffering? Great. How's Zoom functioning? Are you having any hiccups in the call when you hit the East Coast server or whatever server you decide to use as your test server? Perfect.
Zoom is a nightmare, bro. I don't think there's anything good coming out of that.
I mean, it's a good test though.
Oh, it sure is, bro. Definitely is a test.
But just try to make it controlled. Control for the hardware. Do hardwired. Don't do Wi-Fi. There's things that you can do. I'm sure we could probably flesh something out and put it on the SMT Discord for funsies if we wanted to.
Yeah. Hey, guys, we've been on for an hour and a half. Pete, you want to take us home, homie?
Yeah, we're going to do the hashtags.
All the hashtags you like, and then if you want to run down the super chats.
Oh, man, I should have been keeping track of the super chats. Let's see how badly I feel while I do the hashtags.
I can see if I can find
Okay, let's do hashtag feed the bear, hashtag save the bear, hashtag hug the bear, hashtag tech Jesus, hashtag cable Jesus, hashtag tech Buddha, hashtag tech puppy, hashtag ravioli crew, hashtag ravioli gang, hashtag
internet is a human right.
Hashtag doxus. Shoutouts to Anwar, Gene G Jr., Zero Cool, Pete Fox. Let's see. Who else was the one who dropped the bomb?
I see Anwar, Zero Cool. Well, Anwar had a bunch of
Zero Cool.
Yeah. S Blue Tech and Pete Fox
Yep.
had the monsters. And I think those were today's and jeans.
Yep.
Thank you guys.
I finally bought some popcorn from our friend over there in Indiana.
Oh, the dude that's making like the really cool flavor stuff that we saw.
Oh hell yeah,
Dude, I also had some popcorn recently, not from him, but I had some Orvanville Redenbacher popcorn, and it was yummy. I might make some more of that tonight. Actually, I'm gonna make some popcorn.
So
Hashtag 2Live from Alexis. Thank you, man.
I am triggered by Chuck's comment where he said hashtag internet is a luxury. I disagree.
it is.
I got a hashtag, man. Let's hashtag ravioli gang just for good old time's sake.
I did that.
Ah, okay, I missed it. My bad.
Beat you.
You're the GOAT.
All right. Hey, I want to thank you again, though, Sneed, for having me on. It's always a joy. Pete, also been too long since we did a show on, so it was good to have you on, too. As someone said earlier.
I thought you were missing my voice.
As someone said earlier, it was great to have the band back together, and we'll have to try to make this a more consistent routine.
Absolutely. And actually, we got to get we're going to try to get Peter Adderton on some point next year. I'm going to try to get Roger back on at some point soon. He's busy too, but they all want to be like, they want to get in front of the community. They want to, they want to be a part of this whole thing. Like they like the connectivity of our community. So guys, we there's a bright future ahead that involves a lot of industry people, and we're really excited about this. I think 2023 is going to be a big year.
And maybe some Qualcomm guys, too. Don't forget, Sneed.
That's
right.
right.
I want to say one thing. If Roger watched this and got this far, keep asking me for some security questions when you're talking to people on your podcast. I love sharing them.
Yes, sir. All right. Amazing. Thank you, guys. Thanks to everybody that watched this. Hashtag 2Live crew and hashtag replay crew. Y'all are the GOATs. We out this piece.
Peace.
Peace.